Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. So this video is titled, What Do We Do When Garett Bolles Fails? You know, can Munchak work his magic with him? Apparently he's already getting beat in the OTAs. We just want to take a look at how, Garett Bolles did under the Musgrave system of, putting together the offensive line where, it took two coaches, just one for him specially, which was what was that other coach? He was a tackles coach. It was just brought in for Garett Bolles. It's a lot of resource to spend on one guy. But Bolles, the interesting thing about Bolles is, and he's kind of a cornerstone, that the left tackle is a cornerstone of the offense. And that's why this is a really an important topic, because it starts like a ripple with this left tackle position, and then it will ripple on through. So taking a look back at the Musgrave offense, he was up and down like a yo-yo. He was all over the place. At times he had great plays. He really did. Other times, no, he didn't. He broke down. Other times he kept his cool. Other times he didn't keep his cool. I mean, he's just like a loose cannon. You don't know what you're going to get. Now, in OTAs, Bolles was beaten by DeMarcus Walker, who was brought over from outside linebacker, which that's an interesting topic to itself. I was listening to Cecil Lammey, who's usually an idiot, who had been an idiot, who is actually starting to think about things for, instead of just knee-jerk reacting everything like he used to. He was bringing up how DeMarcus Walker under the Vance Joseph defense had him as an outside linebacker, which was really out of place from where he was at Florida State. Now this is going to go back to Garett Bolles. So he was beating, in college he was great as a defensive end, so they moved him back to defensive end, and this is obviously Fangio, and maybe, bringing some sense to the defense, to the defensive end where he was schooling Garett Bolles. Point being is you have DeMarcus Walker schooling Garett Bolles, okay, at left tackle. Now, in 2019, how many DeMarcus Walkers are the Broncos going to encounter, or better, who are going to school Garett Bolles? What happens if the Musgrave, the Munchak Garett Bolles experiment fails? What are the Broncos going to do if they have to jettison Garett Bolles? Now, does that mean that Juwan James is going to have to go from right tackle to left tackle? Man, that is a huge mystery. And then who takes Juwan James' place? Does Dalton Risner come in and take over left tackle? Does he take over right tackle? That is a huge shuffling around to do during the season. And this obviously happens in the NFL. You start shuffling people around, and it takes a while for that to gel. What is that going to mean to the offense? This is where I believe the 8-8, there's a lot of sports talk radio. Oh my God, 8-8, it'd be a disaster. Oh, they can't see details, I think Garett Bolles is a cornerstone piece. If that fails, that's going to cause a cascading effect. I really do. I think that that's all going to play out during the season. My guess is that Garett Bolles may be serviceable enough to play 2019. But he could, in that, he could cost the team some wins. He could cost them, those deadly penalties, that you can't overcome. I mean, 10-yard penalties are drive killers. And Bolles is kind of an architect of killing drives, So, if he does go 2019, I doubt he will go beyond 2019 if he's just simply serviceable and he's a liability. You may see Reisner go in. You may see, depending on the time of year, if it's the playoffs are out of the picture, you may start seeing that offensive line starting to shuffle a bit. And I just want to conclude this with this last parting shot that you're not going to get from Sports Talk Radio, because they would not acknowledge the fact that Musgrave is a pocket quarterback system coach. And the Broncos were running a pocket quarterback system 3 quarters into the season. And I'd really have to break film down, but it seemed that when they switched over to more of a play action, it seemed to me, and I could be totally wrong, and I welcome criticism, that it seemed when they did that, Garett Bolles was struggling with play action system plays. That seemed to be where he was getting more of the negative plays cropping up. So I think it's going to be interesting to see him go, and you won't hear this from Sports Talk Radio. Fans totally don't even acknowledge it, that he's, was playing this pocket quarterback nonsense with Case Keenum, and why anybody wants to know. And again, questions were brought up about, a lot of things the Broncos were doing back then. Just, did they have an idea on really how to use even the player personnel they had? But that off to a side, the question is, Garett Bolles, how will he be in a play action system?